Hello everyone, welcome to one more video of Codando TV. Today we're gonna talk about a very important aspect of software development, which is unit tests. Formerly on native iOS development, we used to rely on XC tests for all the unit test cases, which is a very good framework indeed, but there's some cons about it, like when we want to test multiple flows in a function, we need too many testing functions for that. Sometimes we need to write too many boilerplate, and it's not trivial to write asynchronous tests. Fortunately, in WWDC 2024, Apple raised a whole new framework called Swift testing, which is what we're gonna show in this video. We're going to illustrate with a very simple example of an age classifier class, which we're gonna test with Swift testing. Said that, let's get started. I'm gonna create a new project on Xcode, new project. It's a simple app called age classifier sample. SwiftUI testing system, Swift testing, but not UI tests. We're just gonna test with simple unit tests. Non-storage, okay. Okay, perfect. We have a SwiftUI view here, which we're not gonna rely on. I'm just gonna create a new class here, an empty class, which I'm gonna call age classifier. What will be your age classifier? Let me remove these comments. The age classifier is a simple class that will return a different age classification depending on the age integer the user will provide, that will be provided to the function. We have a single function called classify, right? That will receive an age and return a string. And these are the classifications we shall have. If age is less than 1, you return baby. Else, if age is greater than 1 but less than 13, you return a child. If our age is greater than 13 but less than 18, it's a teenager, depending on the country. There are some countries that consider an adult great when the age is greater than 18. Some countries consider when it's only greater than 21, but some countries only for drinking. But let's follow what Brazil considers a teenager and an adult. If it's less than 60, it's an adult. Otherwise, for all the edge cases, we will consider the person as an elder. Okay? Perfect. Now, we have 5 different flows here for a classification. We need 5 different inputs to have all the 5 different outputs. Now, I am gonna create a new testing class that I will call age classifier tests. Okay. I'm gonna testable import age classifier sample, which is our application target, and I'm gonna import testing, which is the testing framework we are gonna rely. It's the Swift testing, but we import just as testing. One of the greatest things of Swift testing is that we don't need a testing class for that. We can test everything in a single function if we desire to. It's not recommended, but we can do that. we need to provide this macro test, okay? And we don't need to have the test prefix for the test functions because the test macro does all the work we need. So we're just gonna test classify age. And let us create this sweetener test. We can actually do that outside the tests. Oops. Let's suit assign age classifier. And let us test one case here. Okay, let me remove this label that we didn't declare. It would be an anonymous parameter. And pass 10, and we shall verify if it's called child, if it will be child. The expect processor here will be what is gonna compare the results. Previously on XC-test, we used it to apply XC assertions. XC assert true, XC assert equal, XC assert, XC assert nil, not nil. But in Swift testing, we don't have that anymore. We just pass a condition inside expect. Let's test here and to see how it's done. Oops. Oh, sorry. I need to pass a simulator instead of my personal device. Let me go back. Now it's gonna work. Okay, successfully built. Okay, our test passed. So we have the logs here showing how much time did it take to run the test and how many tests passed. Very simple, right? We didn't need to write a whole test class inheriting from XC test case and writing too many boilerplate for that. But what about if we wanted to test all the 5 scenarios of this function? We don't need in Swift testing to create multiple functions for that. We can specify different parameters that will be what we're gonna test. So we can provide a label to our test called test age classifier, for example, and we can pass here an age attribute that will be the age for our input, and a category output, what will be what we're gonna compare. And here in the test macro, we can pass not only the name of the test, but also the arguments. We pass tuples of arguments in Swift testing to match input, that is the age, and the output, that is the category. We can have multiple arguments as well, but for simplification, we're gonna just pass the age. And let me pass here 0 and tag that as a baby. 5, a child. 12, 12, no, not 12, 13, a teenager, 18, an adult, and 60, an elder. Let's organize a little bit. And let's run with all of those parameters. I'm gonna build. Oh, sorry, I forgot something. In order for that to work, we need to pass the input and the output here, which is like a script we're passing. Let me build once more. Succeeded. And here at the bottom we have the arguments that we are passing and showing if the test was successful. 5 tests passed. Each of the tests is specified by this pair of those pairs of arguments, an input and an output. That's very useful because we have shortened a test that in ExitTest would be written with 5 different functions with given, when, then, and we're simplifying with tuples of arguments and outputs. And another thing that's very interesting to show you is we can make a require, like an input assertion that we're gonna leverage that to make sure we are only testing with positive numbers with a message age cannot be negative. Let me show what happens if we pass a negative number here. Oh, we're not handling. Let me place a try catch block. And see what happens. Test failed. Expectation failed. We're passing a negative number. Age cannot be negative. Very simple, right? After I started writing my unit test with Swift testing, everything is much easier than before. I don't spend too much time writing whole classes for my unit tests. I don't waste my time specifying long names for that. Too much boilerplate. Everything is much more simple with Swift testing. And another thing that is very good is that we can nest the structure of our tests in different structs and inner structs or classes if you desire to separate my tests. I can show that in the next video, but I hope you enjoyed this one and I hope you subscribe to our channel and leave your like. See you in the next video.